Manchester United 2, N.Forest 3, back-to-back defeats for Ruben Amorim. What do you have to say about the game, Dan? Man United conceded two early goals in both halves. I don't really know what's going on.
The first goal was from another corner. Very similar to the two corners conceded against Arsenal. In the space of 4 days, you have conceded 3 goals off corner, and then some very careless goals like from open play. You see, if you remember, it was sometimes last week when I said one thing fans have not come to terms with is the style of football Amorim is bent on playing is a high risk, high reward one. It's one that you lose the ball in the middle of the park, just as Bruno did in the critical area. You're just 1 or 2 good passes away from conceding a goal. That's not to say that Onana shouldn't have saved that, but it's been a very windy day. I mean, a very windy day all across England today. The game in Everton also was cancelled against Liverpool. It's been I think some areas of England are experiencing over a 90 mph win. So you could see the ball took a swerve. But if you ask me, Onana should have been able to move his leg. But it comes back to what we say about him always being flat-footed. And that was why he was stuck. If you go and watch that play, the replay of that, that was why his legs were sort of like stuck and he couldn't extend them, because any attempt to have extended those legs, he would have lost, maybe picked up an injury, a nasty one, maybe around his knee or something. So,
but will you say is the swab or he was wrong-footed?
I think it's a bit of both of them, because he had already dived to the right. He sort of like had moved to the right, thinking, anticipating the direction of the ball, obviously, given the body position of the striker. But then again, just before reaching him, the very tiny swerve, and then the ball struck his leg before going into the post, but not enough to be able to deflect the ball away from getting the goal post. But it is what it is, really. I think the time has come where Ruben has to stop this whole every game mixing up your lineup. Look, this is the Premier League.
That was what I was saying too.
If there is no chemistry, there is no chemistry. Look, this is the Premier League. In as long as only God knows, Manchester United have virtually over 95%, 97% of the first team players fit. You should make use of it. Look, there is no point Lenny Yero starting this game. I'll be honest with you. You don't start him in this kind of game. N.Forest has been a decent. I think they have been on the bounce of 3 losses, if I'm right. Is it 3 losses or 4 losses? But that's not to.
But if you look at the games they lost, they're back in the top 5 now. They're back in the top 5.
Yeah. That's to show you again one thing about the team this season. But then back to what I was saying. If you look at the team, N.Forest is a solid team. There's a cohesion. They have a style of play, very direct, very precise and sure with whatever they're looking to do. Their dressing room, the spirit there is on a high, thanks to the likes of Ola and the rest of them that are making sure that they have that very high spirit in the squad. Like, I follow N.Forest closely. I follow a couple of their players closely. I see what's going on in their camp. So that team is not a team you just mix up lineups. There's no point Mazraoui going to the bench. Look, I don't understand what you mean by, yes, you're going to have to rotate these guys, but that's why we have FA Cups and Carling Cup. That's it. This is not Portuguese league. This is not the Portuguese league.
Let's talk about the Bruno sub. Were you shocked when you saw that? When you saw the sub? Were you shocked?
Say again.
I said, let's talk about the Bruno sub. Were you surprised when you saw him subbing off Bruno? Because I was surprised.
I didn't. Up until now, I haven't come to terms with that substitution, because I can't tell what that substitution was meant to do, because I thought Bruno was very involved in the game.
First half, second half, exactly. Why sub him? He just scored the second goal. and you're subbing him out.
Whether he scored or not, whether the goal or not, but then again, plus the goal, but the goal or not, Bruno was very involved in everything Manchester United was doing going forward. And he also ran his lungs out. But I know Ruben will defend the whole substitution by saying he needed to rest him, blah, blah, blah. You have, that's crap. You have to win the game in front of you. You have to stuff the puzzle right in your presence. To be honest, like, for me, is the lineup again. Lenny Yoro shouldn't be starting. And I'm saying it again, Diogo Dalot, it's not effective on the back three. That's the fact. And then also taking away, I really don't understand why, towards the last quarter of the game, you're taking off your central backs, or you're taking off two defenders out of the three that started the game, or out of the four that started the game, the left wing back or right wing back, whichever one. You have done this for your last 4 games and you have struggled. You struggled against Everton. Everton is just because Everton is a very stupid side, a very poor side. We would have probably even ended up drawing that game if Everton was.
Yeah, if they took their chances in the first half, Man United struggled. Yeah, they had a lot of chances in the first half.
You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing this. You keep getting your lineups wrong. You keep getting your substitutions wrong. What was the Mason Mount? I don't get. How is Mason Mount an offensive improvement? I understand maybe energy, but he's not an offensive improvement to Bruno. In all of Premier League, Bruno is different. He's in his own class when it comes to creativity. What he brings to his team is in his own class. It can't be denied. So again, the players were not surprised. I'm not surprised. Different players, same attitude, same performances. But then again, I also blame.
Are you supposed to? Wait, I think you got I think you got that statement wrong. You're supposed to say different managers, same attitude from the players.
No, it's different players, different, because there's been a lot of new players, the Zexis and everybody, Majraoui and the rest of them. But you could see Ugarte was fighting. For me, the substitution I expected was to take off Kobe Mino. No, it was Kobe Mino. I'm talking in the middle. It was Kobe Mino. You should have taken away Kobe Mino and brought on
drop Bruno there. Yeah, you drop Bruno there.
No, leave the Bruno there. Bring Mason Mount to form the defensive core, defensive unit together with Ugarte for Bruno. You had you had control, you had intensity and all that. What you needed now, it's not the time for Kobe Mino. This is a time for direct football. And again, you saw it with Kobe Mino starting. There's a lot of spaces for teams to play. It is the same thing Eric Ten Hag faced when he was playing Casemiro and Kobe Mino together as his pivot and was trying to press high and all that. If you look well, there was a lot of space in the middle of the park, and Ugarte was having to do too much of the covering because Kobe doesn't have those legs. It's not his kind of football. And so when you have Kobe for well over 65 minutes, 70 minutes, you should be taking him off. I'm not taking away Bruno. Bruno's got lungs. Bruno has the lungs. I didn't get, I was just rushing back home. I didn't even see the first goal. And I just left Fratton Park and heading back home, and then just to tune in, and then before I got notification off the Manchester United app, and I was like, what? And then I looked at the lineup, and I'm like, what was this? Why are you starting down ahead of Mazraoui? What for? Did you see the difference when Mazraoui came on? I've been saying this thing. There is a better link up between Mazraoui and Ahmad.
Yeah.
Did you see the difference when Mazraoui came on?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, these things, for me, it's not about being a philosopher. It's not about saying too much and that. That's what I'm saying. Look, it's not about sacking a manager or for Manchester United. It's not about changing the manager. It's about rinsing the institution. I will maintain this. You may knock me for defending Eric Ten Hag for all I care.
I am after the institution. For me, it is the institution called Manchester United. As a franchise, they have gotten it wrong for the last 12 calendar years. And so, no manager is going to succeed until everything is sorted. No manager is going to succeed. That's facts.
So
there is a massive decay. I've said this thing. If you have worked in Manchester United for anything 10 years and above, you should be sacked. You should be relieved of your role. If the unions are serious about doing anything, about setting a new standard, about, restructuring, rebranding, and whatever, the footballing side of that institution, of that football club, they need to rinse that football club off every particles of the past and set a roadmap. It's not about building a new stadium. It's not about getting the youngest, vibrant manager. That's not about it. He's young now. Let's not forget, Erik ten Hag had a better record before he came to Manchester United than Ruben had. Ruben has come now. What's his percentage? I think he's even under 50% win percentage. Having played about 7 games or thereabouts now. He has lost the first time he has lost his league game back, and he's losing back to back for the first time in over a year. Though I fault him also, I fault his starting lineup, I fault his substitution. You can't take away Bruno and you're bringing on Sex. Is it to retain the ball? Is it to drive the ball? Is it to play the link-up passes and progress the team forward? What for? There are some games you don't even make substitutions. To be honest, there are some games that you don't make more than 1 or 2 substitutions.
Ferguson did it. We watch a lot of
it. Ferguson. We've seen the world best managers do it. You don't even make more than 1 or 2 substitutions. Some you don't even make at all. Today, if you had to make any substitution to change the game, the backline was steady. If you ask me, what's it called, Diogo Dalot. If you are going to make any change, it was to take off Diogo Dalot or take away the young French boy, take him off, bring in Mazraoui, maintain that back line that way. You could, then in the middle of the park, you could take away Kobe Mino, bring in Mason Mount, have more legs, more strength, more covering for Bruno. Because the last 15-20 minutes, we had the game. Bruno is a risk taker. That if you have given Bruno such level of protection, Bruno will go mad. The game was open. The game was open.
Okay, so what are your final thoughts? Let's round up.
Our final thought is the coach has to get his act together. That's the fact. He has to get his act together. His lineup. Enough. You're done experimenting. The honeymoon is over. Enough of your poetic speeches and that. That's not what we are after. Enough of all the vibes. We're not after vibes. We've seen some of the best vibes in Jose Mourinho and Louis van Gaal. We've seen the cool cats in Erik ten Hag and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We've seen the administrators in Ralf Rangnick. We need results, and you have to show us that we can depend on you from your lineups and your substitutions. I understand he's a very young manager, and the job in Manchester United is a massive one, and the Premier League generally. But then again, you have to show us that you can do the job. For me now, I just think he's still basking in the euphoria. He's still sort of like pinching himself and not, is this me? Am I the one at the helm of affairs in Old Trafford, standing at the dugout? Enough of all the mix and rinse. You have to make the pick. Just a starting squad and let every other person fight for it. You saw what Rashford today. He knew the pressure is on him now. He had to force himself to play a better game today coming as a sub. He has seen he's not the priority. And that's what we're saying. That's the message you should pass out to these guys. They're starting 11. Make it for you have Mazraoui. Let him play till his legs are out. Why was it signed? And you're starting up with the young defender Lenny Yoro, who just came back from injury. He only had his cameo of a debut against Arsenal, and you're starting him against N.Forest, which is who has been a very decent side that fights you to the very last blast of the whistle. You have seen it to the games they've played all season. You've seen them against Liverpool. You've seen them against Manchester City. You've seen them against some of the very decent teams in their caliber. And then you do your mix and whatever. You are trying to pick your for that jamboree. The league is wide open now. The point margin is going to go from 9 points to 12. You had chances against Ipswich to close it. You had chances against Arsenal to pick up a draw. You have chance tonight again to close it to 6 points. If you have taken about 6 points out of this possible 9, you would probably be sitting in a comfortable position, just away from the top 4 and just looking into the top 4. Making the job difficult for yourself. You should go after results. As much as you're doing whatever you're doing, you should be result oriented.
All right, Dan.
And this is the reason. This is the reason why I would always blame the institution for letting go of first of all Jose Mourinho, and then secondly what's it called, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, not backing these managers, because these managers are result oriented. They knew what they were doing. They were after the results.
All right, Dan. All right, Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you after the next game. I think that's on Thursday.
Have a good night, Ahmed, man.
All right.